We are driving a 2022 Audi SQ7. Coming up, we're going to explore the SQ7's sporting side. But first, information explosion! The SQ7 is basically the Audi Q7 three-row mid-size premium luxury SUV, but much faster. Let us begin with interior.
I am impressed how fancy this feels despite all the black plastic.
Yeah, I'm looking at smudges right now, and it's like, I don't know whose fingers those came from, but it doesn't matter. Fingers are naturally smudgy, so there's a lot of smudge space here, but there's also carbon fiber. There's also this nice red leather and stitching throughout. I will note that the leather we're sitting in is called Volcano leather. Ooh. I don't know what that means.
Sounds explosive.
Yeah, it's probably like volcano and I just said it wrong. Yeah, they said the interior was foncé, and I don't know what that means, but it sounds expensive. The Audi Q7 is a mid-size three-row SUV, but it is on the smaller side. And if you want proof, look at me in the third row.
And you'll definitely need an adult or a large, sturdy child to access that third row. It takes a little bit of muscle.
Kiddo, would you describe yourself as sturdy?
Yeah, I also think there might be a little
Oh yeah, there might be a poop smudge. Well, not from her.
and bird smudge up there.
Oh, on the outside, okay.
No poop smudges on the interior yet. I'll point out that third row headroom is tight, third row knee room is tight, and normally you just move the second row seats forward a little bit to accommodate whoever's in the very, very back. But there's actually not that much room to move forward. So dimensionally, the Q7 is on the small side.
The first thing I did when I got in here was try to fold flat the two rows, and I had to move every seat in the vehicle in order to do that.
Oh, because it kept hitting the headrest
Yes.
and stuff? Yeah. Continuing the theme of smallness, cargo space behind the third row is a cozy 14.2 cubic feet. You can certainly find much more space in some mainstream three-row SUVs like the Kia Telluride or Nissan Pathfinder.
But they don't have nearly the full throttle acceleration fun.
That's a great point that I'm happy you brought up. Can't do that in a Telluride. Ooh, we got to talk about family friendliness, specifically latch. There are latch points in all of the rear seats.
In the second row, there's a kind of latch cover that I've never seen. I threw it out to you guys on Instagram because you're super clever, and there were two excellent names suggested: the Latchwurst or the Latch Saber. Good job, guys.
Adding to the family friendliness is the fact that the Q7 sits fairly low, specifically in this version because it has the adaptive air suspension, so it sits down a little bit lower for easier access. But our kiddo had no problem getting aboard, did she?
How was it getting aboard, sweetie?
It was pretty easy.
As for safety, 8 airbags come standard, and there's the expected suite of active driver assist, lane keeping assist, automatic emergency braking. I looked at the NHTSA website, and there's no rating for front impact, which is odd, but there are multiple ratings for side impact, and it's 5 stars across the board for there, 4-star for rollover, but generally speaking, this is a very safe vehicle. What do we think? Is the Audi SQ7 family friendly?
Family friendly.
Yeah, family friendly. Rear window test. Oh, not all the way down. Pretty close. Armrest test. Now, I always like to be able to keep my hands in a comfortable 8 and 4. This is basically my cruising position, you know. I will say that they're a little bit far out for my taste, especially the outboard position, but they are soft. They're kind of like both soft and firm, you know what I mean?
Like a good bed.
Yeah, exactly, like a good bed. Like I'm not gonna wake up from a long drive and have achy elbows. I mean, it's a comfortable rest. I don't know, maybe I'm gonna go 65% up on the inboard and 50% on the outboard. Hey, have you subscribed to our channel? If you haven't, please do. At 100,000 subs, we're gonna review a windowless white van. Style! Let me very quickly thank the sponsor for today's video, Flying Eyes Sunglasses. They aren't just sunglasses. They have all sorts of super special things about them. Very thin temples that allow them to go under headsets, like when we're flying in the helicopter, and they're all day comfortable, and they weigh very, very little. They've got a limited lifetime warranty. They're super durable. They're great for all sorts of occasions, but you can also wear them in your daily life, like Sweetie here.
Reading books, petting cats, flying eyes.
Sitting quietly.
Doing nothing.
I wear the ophthalmic line of Flying Eyes, which work as my everyday glasses, but they also have these super cool magnetic tinted lenses that are removable.
Sunglasses, not sunglasses. If you're ready to upgrade to aviation grade eyewear, click the link in the description below, use the promo code Micah, and you'll save 10% on Flying Eyes sunglasses. Thanks, Flying Eyes. Sunglasses.
Not sunglasses, Flying Eyes.
What do you think of the style of the Audi SQ7?
It's clearly an Audi. It has that rounded hood, the big grille, the emblem. I love the lines on the side that break it up, and it just really gives it a sense of movement.
Yeah.
And other automotive cliches.
No, this is good though. Perhaps your baseline is the Nissan Armada we drove recently, which was incredibly slab-sided.
Yes.
And so now when you see some dynamism in the bodywork that feels like a little bit more an evocative design to your eyes.
It does.
Adding to the style of this particular SQ7 is Daytona gray pearl paint and a sport package that adds active roll stabilization and a sports differential, but most importantly from a visual perspective, red calipers.
Oh.
This one also has the black optic package, and that's giving it the cool blacked out appearance. So when you look at the roof rails and the side mirrors and just all of the general like blacked out trim, that's the black optic package, giving it that sweet look.
We've driven a lot of cars with matte paint lately, so it's nice to be in something with a little bit of sparkle.
Oh my gosh, my kiddo loves the sparkle.
Yeah, especially if I'm a fairy.
Especially in that situation.
I actually wish I was a fairy, so I could fly.
Do you wish you were a fairy so you could fly? Tell us in the comments. You can also tell us if you have thoughts about the style of the Audi SQ7. It's also a thing you can talk about. Hey, if you're curious what we're doing between YouTube videos, give us a follow over on Instagram. I'm this guy, she's that girl. In motion! In driving the Audi SQ7 back to our mountain home from my day job at Kelley Blue Book, I noted that it is an excellent cruiser. Generally smooth, you put the thing in comfort mode, it's quiet, it just puts down miles very easily, which is great. And then what's wonderful about my commute is that when I get to the mountain, it's immediately very windy roads. I entered corners where I'm like, well, let's see what she's got. And I'm like, oh, she's got a lot more than that. My realization is that the amount of grip and the amount of thrust here is so high that the limiting factor is not the vehicle, but rather the driver's interest in staying alive. Like truly, it's like, oh, well, this is as fast as I would want to go on public roads. The SQ7 has an S-tuned adaptive air suspension, and it also has four-wheel steering. So four-wheel steering is super cool because the tires in the back turn the opposite directions of the front, which tightens the turning circle at very slow speeds, and at high speeds they turn slightly in the same direction, which increases stability when you're making lane changes and that kind of stuff. This is a very capable dynamic package, and to prove that fact, I'm going to put it in dynamic mode, and now let's drive zippily. Whee! That's one of the things I love. When you do the gear changes in dynamic mode, you get the between gear changes. So I'm gonna go a little bit quicker here. You feel that? The
yes.
growl between. Here, good brake. So I could go so much faster through this corner if I were not so darn responsible. But listening to that V8 do its thing, and I'm gonna do a really fast corner here. Here we go. There we go. Is this like crazy fast for a 3-row SUV?
Yes.
Yes, yeah. I do have one bit of criticism though. Brakes. big rotors. However, while we were doing car to car, I actually got the front brakes to smoke. And I didn't feel like I was even being that aggressive. So it makes me wonder how this would do in a track environment. And then I thought, no one's taking the SQ7 to a track environment. But if you live somewhere here where you have hills and there's a lot of weight going down those hills and you're driving it quickly like you might an SQ7, be mindful of the brakes. I'm gonna put it back in comfort mode, and I'd like to note that when you do that, the transmission goes back to being perfectly sedate. Just really smooth, comfortable shifts. There's also off-road mode that, I don't know who's using that, but up here that might come in handy when we got a lot of snow, get a little extra ride height, so that has some relevance. I have prattled on long enough. Let's see what Evie thinks. Sweetie's at the wheel, and we're gonna take a left out here, and I feel like when we have to get across traffic and get moving, this is a great opportunity for full throttle acceleration.
All right.
Yeah. Whee! Oh my. Oh.
I love the sound of this car. It sounds so good.
It's very growly.
It is.
I really like it too.
Oh yeah. So we've got all the ladies are pro V8 Audi sound. Do you feel comfortable in it, or does it feel like too much?
You know, it only goes as fast as the amount of throttle you apply. And you shared with me that in corners, even at extremely high speeds, it's very stable. So I find that reassuring.
It's almost impossible for you to overdrive this vehicle.
I love that.
You'll find your limits before the SQ7 finds its.
One thing I did notice is that the steering is a little bit heavy. Is there another mode that would make that more comfortable?
It feels like you're teeing me up like in a very contrived way. But yes, there is. I put you in comfort mode. We'll take a right here.
Ooh, I love that.
Look at me solving problems.
Thank you.
Yes, does it feel like a manageably sized vehicle?
I do enjoy driving a smaller, low to the ground kind of vehicle. It just feels more comfortable to me around corners.
Yeah, even though it's a mid-size SUV, it is a little bit on the smaller side, which really plays into your preferences. Now, this is another great opportunity for
you to
full
berate
throttle
me
acceleration.
about my choice.
Floor it, all the way. Are you floored? Whee! There we go. Whee!
I just like this.
Back on task. Visibility?
Visibility over my right shoulder is good. The B-pillar over my left shoulder, though, seems huge.
And I think that's a seating position. You're a little bit further forward, so it's kind of right where you'd be looking. Whereas I sit a little further back, and I'd see around it. But overall, pretty drivable vehicle. You feel comfortable?
I do. I like this vehicle.
She's comfortable. She likes it. I'm getting back in the driver's seat. Yeah, I think we all feel pretty good about the Audi SQ7, especially as I needlessly full throttle accelerate coming into this corner, and the SQ7 handles it just fine. Before moving on, let me very quickly thank the fine folks who support us on Patreon. Patrons, you get early access to our videos, we communicate with you there, and we love it. Thank you, patrons.
You're awesome.
You are. Emotion factor. The Audi Q7 already has an elevated emotion factor. It's got kind of a technical quality, and it's elevated, you know, it's a premium vehicle. But the SQ7 really adds to that through the magic of speed.
Yay!
Whoa!
It's kind of a having it all emotion. Like, it feels elegant, it also feels sporty, and it will haul your family around. You have to pay a lot for that emotion, but the emotion factor is high.
If you're feeling emotionally moved to buy an Audi SQ7 or maybe the more sedate Q7 of your very own, click the Kelley Blue Book listing link in the description below for real vehicles in your area. Remarks! Remark number 1, infotainment. Sweetie, thoughts?
I like that the icons are super large and color-coded. I don't see very well. The haptic feedback that you get when you press the screen is helpful for knowing that you've actually touched some sort of button. I like the way the menu is divided.
Yeah.
But I did have a little trouble when I was searching for specific things.
So you're talking about digging through menus
Yes.
and not being quite clear? Inevitably, you have to put those options somewhere, and you're going to have to dig through some menus if you aren't going to give a dedicated button. The other thing is that, so you have this 10.1 inch screen up top, and then you have this 8.6 inch screen down below that handles things like the climate control, and you can turn off the automatic engine start-stop system, seat heating and cooling, that kind of stuff.
Oh, which you can do at the same time, which I know you love.
That is a biggie. We really, really like that. If you get the warm butt, that's a nice feeling. But then sometimes you get a little sweaty, and you want it to be wicked away. You can do that.
Buy a butt sweat fairy.
Buy a butt sweat fairy. Are you gonna have to make a graphic for that?
No, I'm not.
Is that the kind of fairy you wanted to be, kiddo? The butt sweat fairy? Anyway, when you're trying to use the screen, it's placed very low, and there's no physical buttons, so finding the right thing takes some consideration. These are all the things that when you're at the car dealership seem pretty cool, but when you're actually driving and trying to use them, it might be a little more complex. Though I will also add that the longer you own the vehicle, the more used to it you'll get, but a button might be easier. One thing I really do like, though, is the 360 cam. It's kind of a neat way to dazzle people when you bring the vehicle home, and it also makes it more likely that you will not hit things, or less likely that you will hit things.
I like both of those options.
Both great options. Oh, and I should mention too, Apple CarPlay comes standard and it's wireless. Android Auto also comes standard, but it is wired. Our vehicle has the $5,000 Bang & Olufsen audio system, and as a fan of music, I should really like it. I'm gonna say that the highs are a little bit crispy for my tastes.
Is that coming from those awesome speakers that majestically rise when you turn on the car?
Those would be the ones. It's very dazzling in short bursts, but to me, with long listening, that kind of extra high-end information can be a little bit fatiguing. Couple mechanical notes. The max tow on the SQ7 is 7,700 pounds, which is good for a mid-size 3-row SUV. Also, all-wheel drive comes standard, which is great for mountain folks like us. And then this is the rare vehicle that makes our Ford Bronco seem efficient in the city.
Ooh.
Now, we're driving the fanciest, fastest, most outrageous version of the Q7, the SQ7, but there are cheaper, less powerful options. You've got a Q7 45 and a Q7 55. And that is a really convenient lead-in. Sweetie, may I give you a trim recommendation?
Please do.
And by the way, this recommendation is based on what gives you the absolute essentials at the lowest possible price. I think you could get the base Q7 and be perfectly happy. Even in base form, it comes with blind spot warning, front and rear parking sensors, smart key access, leather, the panoramic moonroof, the 12.3-inch digital display. They call it the virtual cockpit with all the gauge cluster stuff. It's a lot of car for a comparatively reasonable sum. That said, if all of our money wasn't tied up in a helicopter, I might be tempted by the SQ7. I think it's a really fun to drive package that also seems responsible unless people know what's really going on with it. As for the competitive set, the BMW X7 is one you might also consider, the Mercedes-Benz GLE. If you wanted a value-priced alternative, I might suggest the Acura MDX. They've got that Type S, which is kind of cool and certainly less expensive than what we're driving here. Another option would be the new Jeep Wagoneer or Grand Wagoneer if you're feeling grand. We haven't driven that yet, but we sure would like to. And then last thing I'll mention would be something that's not in the premium segment, but still feels kind of premium, the Kia Telluride, which was just updated for 2023. All right, let's move on to Synopsis. In thinking about the essence of the Audi SQ7, it is fun, it is expensive, and it goes unexpectedly fast. To me, it is the 6-year-old parenting experience of 3-row SUVs.
Aww.
Love you, sweetie. If you guys have a better synopsis, then you are dead inside. A monster, an absolute monster. But you can leave it in the comment section. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do at 100,000 subs. We're gonna review that windowless white van. You can keep up with us between videos, either on Instagram or at Patreon. Family, I think we've done a pretty darn good job reviewing the Audi SQ7. May I have a 5 and a 5, and you, come get your high five.